Man, what is happening, my YouTube family? Of course, it is your boy B New. I'm coming at you on this happy Hump Day Wednesday. First and foremost, I just want to send out positive vibrations to everybody, man. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Now, you know we got a lot to get into, and because the NBA tipped off last night, and I do hate that I did have a show earlier this morning, but somehow your boy made a mistake and deleted the show, and it was an excellent one. It's going to be pretty hard to follow, but nobody saw it but me, so yeah, who knows, this might be a good one too. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, we know that the Golden State Warriors took on the Los Angeles Lakers downtown at the Staples Center last night, and they inked out the victory. And I know a lot of you all who were saying, oh, the preseason. And of course, I was one of the ones who said the preseason doesn't matter. The preseason doesn't matter. And I know everybody's saying, now, see, I told you so. The preseason mattered. The preseason, Lakers was 0-6. The Warriors were 6-0, you know, and all that good stuff. But I guarantee all of you same people that saying that, well, you saying that through the first 3 quarters of the game when the Lakers was pretty much in control of the game. Were you saying that then? I highly doubt it. So, I mean, with the Lakers being in control most of the game and Russell Westbrook having a horrible game the way he did, that right there lets me know that the Lakers are going to get this together probably sooner rather than later, even though they're suffering a lot of injuries right now too. And that is simply no excuse, because if you look at the depth of their veteran roster, it was still better than Golden State's. And when you can hold Steph Curry to 19 points, then that means you're doing something. However, you allowed a lot of the others to get involved. And that's one thing I do love about Golden State. They get the ball rotated around the key a lot. They tend to move the ball a lot. They had 30 assists last night. And when you had 30 assists, they normally win. Last year, they had 30 games where they had 30 assists, and they were 27-3 in those games. So that alone lets you know that they were going to be successful because of the ball movement, because you can close out the shots, but when you're making that extra pass, a player is not quicker than the ball, because you can pass that ball around the key, a player is not going to catch up to it. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's exactly the philosophy of the Golden State Warriors, and that's why they've been so successful over the past several years. And last night was another example of that. But when you have your main two guys in LeBron and AD scoring 35 and 34 points respectively, you would think that the Lakers would be able to ink out and win that victory. However, that simply was not the case, and I'm not going to blame that loss directly on Russell Westbrook. I don't think that that's really his fault, even though he did have a poor performance and he could have played a lot better. You also got to put a lot of the blame on the coach, because, you know, if you're going to be a coach, then one of your main jobs is putting your players in positions to be successful. And as we've seen in the past previous seasons, Frank Vogel simply did not do that last night. He had some weird combinations in there, things that I don't understand. The glaring one that Barkley even talked about at halftime was putting Rajon Rondo and Westbrook in the backcourt together, which neither of them had traditionally been great perimeter shooters as far as the outside three or even mid-range at that regard. Both of them more of a penetrator and much better at getting other people involved, so to speak. So when you got two of them out there, it kind of clashes together, and then it kind of mess up the rotations, how you want to stagger the players with LeBron and AD and, of course, Rondo. So mainly what they need to do is, you know, LeBron gets his break normally in the 5 or 4 minute of the first quarter, and then he'll typically sit probably until he might play the last couple of plays of the first quarter, but usually he'll sit to the end of the first quarter and come in on the second quarter so he can get an extended break. And Anthony Davis will play the entire first quarter. That's typically how it's been, and then LeBron will come in the second. And I kind of don't like that, because LeBron and AD aren't getting enough minutes together. And if you look at their plus minus on the floor together when they are in there together, it's a great combo, as we all know. And I understand you want to stagger and have one great player on the court at the same time, but what you need to do is sit Westbrook a little bit sooner, bring in Rondo to play with LeBron and AD, and then when LeBron goes to get his break, then you bring in Westbrook. And then you kind of mix up the rotation like that, and then you have a Westbrook and a Anthony Davis playing together. And also, when LeBron comes back in the second quarter, you can let him play with Westbrook for a couple of minutes, and then bring back in Rondo to replace him, and then get LeBron, who was familiar with playing with Rondo, together. Now, as LeBron and Westbrook feel themselves out on how they want to play together, that can change over the course of the season. But for now, when you want to be successful, you want to limit the playing time of LeBron and Westbrook together, simply because both of them are ball dominant, and they're at their most successful when they're penetrating to the paint and finishing at the rim, and or passing it out to open shooters who can knock down three-point shots. That is indeed their specialty. So if you had two of them doing the same thing, you have one of them, people that's going to who tend to sit around and watch. And as a basketball player on the court, you don't want to play too much ISO and sit around watching. You want to keep the defense on their toes, the way the Golden State Warriors kept the Lakers on their toes in the fourth quarter by scoring 38 points in their fourth quarter, which to me was still inexcusable. And I know we lost KCP and Alex Caruso, who were great on-the-ball defenders, but we still have a lot of shooters who are more than capable. A lot of defenders who are more than capable, and one of those is Kent Bazemore, because he held Steph Curry. He really held Steph Curry to 19 points. He was glued all over him all during the game, which to me, he did an amazing job. And I think he has, to me, solidified his role as being a starter, just on the offense with Westbrook and LeBron and Anthony Davis. And I know Coach Vogel said that he was going to have Anthony Davis starting at center a lot throughout the year. That didn't happen. And for the life of me, I don't understand why they trotted out DeAndre Jordan instead of Dwight Howard. If you're going to go big, just let Dwight Howard, I think, start the game. I think he's better at this point in their career, and matter of fact, had a better overall career at that point too. And then maybe bring in them. And then another thing I noticed was nobody on Golden State except for Steph Curry played over 33 or 34 minutes. And I know that Wiggins and Draymond were on minute restrictions, but, not saying the Lakers was more fatigued, but you're still getting in game shape. And when you talk about all of those Lakers players, you had besides for the center position, all of four of the other starters played well over 35 minutes, including LeBron James, who I think played 36 minutes. So you're talking about the Warriors being more fresh and also just being better offensively down the stretch. And then if you look at everything all together, you can't blame everything on Westbrook, even though he complained when he got to the hole and wasn't getting some of the calls and not playing through the contact. But at the end of the day, I think Westbrook will play better, and they're going to get that together. Of course, the open game jitters and all that we do understand. But if you look at this game from a statistical standpoint, you're going to see that as far as field goal percentage, the Lakers shot 45%, Golden State shot 44%. But yet the Lakers lost. They both shot 36% from three-point. Golden State was 14 out of 39, and the Lakers was 15 out of 42. So the Lakers actually hit one more three-point shot than they did. Golden State out-rebounded them by 5 rebounds, a couple more on the offensive glass than they did. But at the end of the day, the turnovers was the same. Both of them had 17 turnovers. So a lot of it was just pretty much even. So you go and you look and say, well, what was the key contributing factor? So if you look at the one thing that glared out to me was the free throws. Golden State shot 83%, 25 out of 30 from free throws, whereas the Lakers only shot 9 out of 19, below 50% as a team, 47% on free throws. Anthony Davis was 2 out of 7, and LeBron James was 3 out of 6. And then, of course, how is Dwight Howard the best free throw shooter on the team? So Dwight Howard shot 3 out of 4. And why late in the game, when the game was still close and there was a technical foul called, you let Anthony Davis come to the line to shoot the free throw when you got Avery Bradley in the game, who was a much better free throw shooter career-wise, and he's a guard. So why are you bringing Anthony Davis to the free throw line in this type of situation? That's what I don't understand. And, of course, we had a missed free throw by Carmelo Anthony. I don't know if you all saw that. I don't know what the world was going on with that, but I did that before, I think, in a game of 21, so it didn't matter. But in the NBA stage, that's a little bit different. So I know a lot of people said that Getty was being blown out there in front of the Staples Center. That's what Charles and them alluded to. I don't know if he got some of that contact or what, but at the end of the day, he made a mistake. But like I said, the Lakers was 9 out of 19. They lost the game by 7 points. Had they made their free throws, they win the game. As simple as that. So they have to do a better job. I know LeBron, he is what he is on the free throw. I'm not going to excuse it because He does bring a lot more to the table, so I can excuse it a little bit, but he still needs to improve. It's like he can hit all these wild shots with rainbows and fallaways and people on him and all these circus shots, but not the free throw. And I don't understand if it's just mental or what it is, but I'm hoping to see some improvement out of him this year. But at the end of the day, it wasn't just the free throws. It was a combination of that. And the Lakers actually playing pretty good defense, but the Golden State Warriors just playing better offense in the fourth quarter. I think Avery Bradley was a bright spot for the Lakers. I really do think he was a bright spot for the Lakers last night, playing down the stretch. He was playing pretty good defense, although Draymond set a great screen on him to have Steph Curry hit that three. But he made a couple threes. He was playing good defense. I think he's a great addition. I don't think it was that much of a surprise to see him in there playing, considering he's already played within Frank Vogel's system anyway. But like I said, the bright spot to me was Kent Bazemore. I think he played excellent defense, and I think he's more than capable of getting his shot. And as they develop chemistry, I think the Lakers are going to be very dangerous. It's just a matter of figuring out how you want to stagger these lineups and trust and believe. If Russell Westbrook would have just went out and got you 15 points last night, then the Lakers win. He blew a lot of crib shots, open shots, jitters. Like we said, he's not the best outside shooter, but last night was pretty abysmal, even for Russell Westbrook. So, we won't focus on that. I know a lot of the haters are real happy right now, but them same haters that's happy need to realize that they Brooklyn Nets got that ass tore up last night too. So let's not forget about that. And if time permits, we can't get into that. But another thing that I did want to focus on. Hey, y'all, I need to give me some gas. But another thing that I did want to focus on is the Lakers. The rest of the Lakers have to contribute more. The bench killed them last night. So Golden State bench really outperformed them. I can't remember exactly how much, but they had probably, if I had to guess, 55, 56 points to 20. If the Lakers even had that, because basically nobody gave you anything except for LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And if you look at the statistics of it, LeBron James and Anthony Davis scored 67 points. The rest of the team only scored 47 points. The rest of the team combined. Then you look at the field goal percentage. LeBron James and Anthony Davis shot 57%. The rest of the team, 37%. Then you look at the 3 points. LeBron James and Anthony Davis, 6 out of 16. Most of those going to LeBron, who was on fire, and the rest of the team, 9 out of 26. Anthony Davis and LeBron James combined for 23 rebounds, and the rest of the team, only 22. So, it's a lot of good takeaways from this game, but the Lakers will be in action again. That's a good thing about the NBA. The Lakers will be in action again come Friday. And when the Lakers take on the Phoenix Suns, it will be interesting to see if Frank Vogel elects to finally start Anthony Davis as the center, as he said he would do, or if he will continue to play the big lineup. And with Ayton being the starter for the Phoenix Suns, then we have to realize that that's more of a traditional center who doesn't really stretch the floor. So it might behoove him to go ahead and start and go big with either DeAndre Jordan or Dwight Howard. Personally, I would like Dwight Howard, but I think if I had to pick, I say the Lakers win that game because I think they're only going to get better. I know the Phoenix Suns are good. We know that they put the Lakers out last year, so I think it'll be a lot more meaningful game. Anthony Davis and LeBron James are going to take this personal, and then of course the good friends of LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony is Chris Paul. So that's going to be a pretty good game, and I look forward to watching that. And also, I think Carmelo Anthony was a bright spot because he can give you instant offense, and I would like to see him get some more minutes, but I would like to see it in a better lineup. I would more so like to see a lineup where you have Anthony Davis at center, where you have LeBron James at power forward, and then you can put Carmelo in at the 3, or either Carmelo at the 4, and let LeBron play his traditional role of the 3. And then you could have Russ at the 1, or either Rondo at the 1, and you could have many players at the 2 because the Lakers have pretty much good depth. at shooting guard. You know, they can have Wayne Ellington in there who can hit the open shot. Of course, Kent Bazemore, who played well last night, would be a great fit, you know, for a lineup like that to close out games, because I feel like when you have that lineup, you have everybody, you know, from top to bottom, from the 1 through the 5 positions, who is capable of scoring, creating for themselves and creating for others, for the most part. And then if you think about it, if you get a ball stop and the ball happens to stop in that particular lineup, you got Carmelo, who can easily play one-on-one and score. You got LeBron, who can play one-on-one and score. You got AD, who can play one-on-one and score. And you got Kent Bazemore, who can hit open shots if they create for him, and he can create his own shot, even though he's not much of a creator, but he will be bringing the defensive intensity on the other end of the floor. And that's one thing I really like about him. Or in the waning minutes of the game, you can also have in Avery Bradley, who could do the same and give you a lot of defense. But I'm really excited for the season to see where it's going to go and where it's going to lead us. I know yesterday I thought the Brooklyn Nets would win. I'll talk about them for a second. I thought they would win on yesterday just because I still think they are a better team top to bottom than Milwaukee. But I'm starting to reconsider that because, like I said, on yesterday, the confidence of the Milwaukee Bucks is only going to get greater because they've won a championship already together as a unit, and they had injured players out as well. And then Drew Holiday didn't even play the second half. And the way Giannis is looking right now, I mean, the move when he Euro stepped on KD and just had his way with him, that was just beautiful. And I mean, he taking basically 2 steps to get damn near from the 3-point line to the rim. I don't know if y'all ever heard of the game Mother May I, when they used to say, Mother May I take 2 giant steps. Well, that's him. He taking them 2 giant steps and getting right to the rim and yoking on the fool. And that's basically what Giannis is doing. And I think he's taking the league by storm, and I think the league is going to be his for the taking once LeBron James is on the end of his career, which he is now. So it may be a torch being passed, but I'm not ready just to hand it to Milwaukee just yet, because I think the Lakers match up well with anybody in the association. And 1 game out of 82 does not a season make. You know, Golden State is looking really good. When they get Klay Thompson back, they're going to look even better. But that Jordan Poole, I mean, he is playing excellent. I won't say he's going to be the most improved player of the year off of 1 game, but damn, I mean, he was looking nice. Kind of remind me of how Cam played last year. Cam Payne played last year for Phoenix, you know, during their playoff run. He was very electric. And the Golden State Warriors, they have a good philosophy of moving the ball, but I think with the assistant coaches of the Lakers, they're going to figure something out and come up with game plans for each game. And as people start to get other people on film as the season progresses and people figure out what wrinkles have been added to offensive and defensive schemes, then it's only going to come easier for the Lakers and, of course, for Russell Westbrook. So I won't worry too much about Russ. I mean, I knew from the beginning that he's not the type of point guard who's going to spread the floor and be a knockout shooter, you know, in that regard, because you could have kept Dennis Schroeder for that. You know, but at the end of the day, Russell Westbrook, the intensity and his desire to win and his athletic ability, I think is enough to overcome anything else, especially once him and LeBron figure out how to play with each other when both of them are on the court with one another. Because trust and believe, it can be done. It's not rocket science. And I know you say, well, he has to play off the ball. One of them has to play off the ball. That's not necessarily so. Because in the NBA, when you play isolation, you can have it to where even if they're on the court together and Russ is in the ISO, LeBron can kind of get more of a break while Russ is ISOing. And then if they do come with a double or whatever, LeBron can be a knockdown open shooter, because I think at this point in his career, he's proven that he can hit the outside shot. He's proven that. So I'm not really worried about the Lakers. I still just don't see any team in the West or in the East, for that matter, being able to beat them. And like I said, that includes Milwaukee, and that does include Miami and anybody else in the East. And I'm curious to see how Miami is going to look with the addition of Kyle Lowry. I know a lot of people don't think he got a lot of left in the tank, but I think he got a lot to prove. And I think the Miami Heat is going to be a threat in the East, just to say the least. But at the end of the day, I don't want to harp too much on, you know, how bad Russell Westbrook was, because I'm not going to blame that loss on him. If anything, I blame it more so on the free throw shooting of the Lakers, as well as the mismanagement of the substitutions by Frank Vogel. So in the comments, let me know what y'all think. If you agree, who do you blame the loss on? Do you blame it on Russell Westbrook? you more so blame it on Frank Vogel for not putting his players in position to be successful, which I know coaches don't play. You understand? And I know Westbrook could have hit these shots and did have some open looks, but we all know who Russell Westbrook is and what he brings to the table. So with that being said, it is the responsibility of the coach to put him in that position to be successful. And I'm not going to blame anybody. A loss is a loss. Sometimes better offense beats better defense. So with all that being said, this been your boy B New. Man, I'm just saying right on to the real, and much love to these haters. I'm out.